Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Hope you all had a fantastic weekend. I know we did. We had a little
We did.
boating and sunshine here in Charleston. It was gorgeous weather this weekend. But today's Monday, right? So ready to attack the world and get back at it this week. So thank you all for joining us, whether you're on Zoom or on YouTube or watching us at a later time. Thank you for joining us. What's your name?
Oh, my name is Zach. Zach Odie, and this is
And I'm Kimberly.
my wife, Kimberly, better half of other pairs, but
Everything.
not ours.
They're so silly. But anyway, thanks for joining us today. We're excited to have a conversation. We've got a friend of ours on, Debbie Worthington, and she is going to share her knowledge and her experience that she's had through the years. So, our question of the day is, what mindset shifts are key to turning financial stress into financial success? So that's a great question. And before we start chatting, Debbie, I just want to kind of give you a proper introduction with your bio. So, tell you a little bit about Debbie. She is Debbie Worthington. I don't know if I've said your last name officially yet, but she's a seasoned entrepreneur who started in the wireless industry, but before transitioning to the insurance industry in 2006, founding her own property and casualty agency. In addition to running this agency, she's actively involved in real estate investing, specializing in creative acquisitions and helping homeowners avoid foreclosure. As a single mother of two, Debbie later realized the importance of financial literacy and began focusing on life insurance, retirement planning, and empowering others to build financial security. Through her work in both real estate and financial services, she's dedicated to helping others create lasting financial legacies. So, thank you for joining us today, and welcome to the Daily Huddle.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here. I,
Absolutely.
I'm, I'm impressed by what you guys do on Mondays. So what an honor that you invited me to join you.
Well, I don't know how long ago we met, Debbie. Several years ago
Several
now. We've
years, for sure.
been working together and in and around the same areas, and have been incredibly impressed with what she's been able to do, and with her focus and direction, and hear nothing but great things from clients and people that she's trained. And so we're honored to have her on the podcast today to share the secrets to changing from stress to success, because I know that, especially going into this time of year and the golden quarter, if you will, there's a lot of money that can be made, but there's also a lot of stress about things that need to be purchased or things that are coming up in the future. And so stress around money is a real thing. And it's really hard to shift into making money or being a positive force in anyone's life when you're stressed in your own. So Debbie, welcome, and let's have a dialogue.
Yeah, thank you. Well, it really, when it boils down to it, as I'm going through the things that I've done, it is your mindset is key. So I notice, I mean, I've been through a lot of things, so many. And then one of the things I've learned is just because you've done a lot of things, like you've raised two kids by yourself, there is no trophy. You don't get a trophy. You don't get to sit on a shelf over here and go,
Dagummit.
I'm done. No, it's like, oh my gosh, it keeps coming. More things to learn and grow. And so, as I get older, I've decided let's just embrace this. Every time I've been up against a wall, I have just gone into that mindset of I have got this. I've done vision boards, I've done all kinds of things, and every time I dig deep, it all works out. And then things start to coast a little bit easier, and I forget. No. That's it's like, why do we do that? Human nature, I guess. So it's just I want to share that message with people. There's so many things I did not know as I was running my businesses and I started my wireless business. I had two business, then I started the insurance business because I saw the landscape of the wireless business changing. So I've always just run in different directions, really reacting. I did great things, but I was reacting. And one of the major lessons that I've learned, and some people on this podcast may be younger parents, they may have their kids have already left home, whatever it is. But one of the things I realized when my kids grew up is, okay, I've always all this time, I've been doing things just for everybody else. I had a little bit of a blip, like where was my trophy? Why wasn't I not done? I had to find that why again. And it's been an interesting journey and a challenge. And I look back in a very reflective way over my life. And it's like, don't settle. Do not, you fight for what you want, and you have to believe so much. And I'm just so grateful for that. So right now I'm on a mission of some of the things that would have helped me as I was going through. I mean, I had such really zero financial literacy skills. And it's amazing to me that I did all of the things that I did, and a scarcity mindset. And that, the question that I asked was, if your belief about money is huge, you've got to have an abundance mindset in really everything. So that is on my next leg that I'm on. I am rising above like a phoenix, and I am going I'm just excited about some of the things I'm going to accomplish and share with people, because I learned that we don't get trophies for raising kids or anything else.
For all the hard things. Nobody's going to pat you on the back and say, "Great job, Debbie. Let me set you on this pedestal for a minute and tell everybody how great you
Exactly.
are." Yeah.
No, it doesn't
I
work
think
like
that's
that.
probably one of the hardest lessons, and it's something that we have to continuously work on, is our mind and our mindset and our beliefs, and I think it can get the best of you too, right? We talk about that a lot of, it's hard to ignore the noise, but you have to ignore the noise, because if you don't, it ends up consuming you, right? And
It
what you think
does.
about and what you see and what you listen to becomes your reality. So if you can, even in small doses, right, change how you think about things, then it will become a bigger part of your life, right? Like if you can just, instead of saying, I can't, right,
Mm.
remove those words
No,
from your
no,
vocabulary.
yes.
And then it starts shifting your mind. I tell my kids all the time, and our teammates and everyone, I'm like, do not ever say if, ever. The answer
No,
is when, right?
declare.
When.
Yeah.
But
Well, it depends on whether it's something you want to happen or something you don't want to happen.
well, if it does, if I don't want it
If
to
I
happen,
want,
it's not going to happen. So,
if I'm going to say when, it's going to be me saying that when I get where I want to go, not in the other direction. Sorry,
Right.
had to clarify there. So we don't
but
want to
I
call
think,
anything in that's not desirable.
yeah, well, I wouldn't say if something bad happens, because nothing bad's going to happen,
No,
right?
no. Mhm.
But I think, changing a few words in your vocabulary, right? And I think the more intentional you are about little changes, ultimately it becomes a bigger change. What would you say, maybe one of your earliest lessons, like your biggest lesson early on, that you were like, okay, I gotta change this?
Well, really what you put out into the world is, it sounds cliche, but it's so true. What you're putting out and the energy is coming back to you. So you notice when people get into a pattern, I've gotten into patterns before where, oh my gosh, this is a downward spiral here. And what you're putting out is giving you more of that. And it was really, I think that first time I faced just some huge financial challenges right after 2009, after the crash, really, I had to sit down and look in the mirror and go, okay, what are you going to do about this? And I remember I made a vision board so fast. I've never in my life, it's always one of those things of that's silly, or I'm going to do that one day. Oh no, I was frantically making this vision board, and everything on that vision board came true. It's your mind is so powerful. So, my message is to people would be just believe what decide. Like I've never decided, people always say, what do you want to do in 5 years? I was just busy running around like a maniac, running businesses. And I didn't really sit down and go, I would like this. And you have to really decide, what do I want? And believe that you're capable of it. So I love that now that I understand, I can see when I slip back into just kind of mediocrity per se, or what typically what we're taught to do. And then I know better and I crawl out of it and go, no. And so I think I'm finally at the point where I'm going to go, I want this and this and
It is
this.
coming to me.
Well, yeah, I think it's interesting when we talk about stress to success, right? That's kind of where we are. Stress is a product of us focusing on things that are not that are unfavorable, right? Things that we're concerned that might happen that haven't even happened yet, or either a situation that we're in that we don't like the way we feel, we don't like the current balance in the bank account. We focus on the negative. Stress is simply that. And I think that you can't just tell everybody don't be stressed, but what you can say is focus on where you want to go, right? Like we talked about last week or a couple of weeks ago, from a whitewater paddling perspective, and we talked about, Michelle even mentioned that same time as far as riding a motorcycle. At the same time, if you look at where you don't want to go, that's where you'll end up. And so if you look at where you want to go, and think about that and focus on that, everything in your world will point in that direction. It's just it's not, crazy weird magic stuff. It's literally the power of the mind and the power of what you
Mhm.
focus on, the power of intention. So yeah, having a vision board, having goals, having some way to say this is where I'm headed. So if I get up every morning and I pick up my phone and I look at the bad news, right? Because that's all the news is the
Even if
bad
you don't
news.
watch the news, it's still in your face nowadays, right?
If I pick it up and I check my email or look at whatever, that's how my day starts. And that's where I've pointed my mind. That's where I've pointed everything about my day. But if I get up and I have a vision board and I'm reminded, wow, look, that's where I'm headed today. I'm headed in a good direction. I'm headed in a
Right.
good place. It matters.
It
And
does.
so that's one of the things that, and we're around a lot of the same people and we hear a lot of the same messages. And so I love that just that tidbit of having focus on a direction you want to go in, not one that you don't.
Let's chat about vision boards for a second. We've done vision boards too, and it's funny. And this was way back, 15 years ago almost. Do you think it was that long?
Probably more. We've been in
Um,
Charleston for almost 15 years
oh.
now.
Anyway,
Yeah.
a long, can you sing that song? A
What's
long,
up?
long time ago.
Yeah, I can.
I keep trying to get Zach to sing a song on the Daily Huddle, and he never plays plays
Maybe
along with
today's
me.
the day.
Maybe one day soon.
No, I doubt it. I doubt it. He's a teaser. But anyway, we did vision boards with our team, and I remember, seeing all of these adults, men and women. We were in Hawassi at Zach's parents' house, and so they have a loft upstairs. And I remember like standing up there overlooking the living room, and literally grown adults, plenty old enough, cutting out magazine things, right, and putting it on paper. And just like Michelle said, she can't get past the arts and crafts feeling, hokey of vision boards. And I get it. Like it feels cheesy. It feels cliche. It feels like,
Mhm.
why am I really cutting and pasting and sticking this on a poster board? But one of those people, they were my parents because they were on our team at the time. And their vision board, if I pulled it out, they found it years later in their basement.
Yeah.
And they pulled it out, and it was a cabin in the mountains, and it was a Land Rover, and it was a Rolex, and literally every single thing they had cut out was something that had happened in their life. And it's not because they looked at that vision board every single day, because obviously they forgot about it, but it just seems to happen that way, right? Exactly the same thing when we talk about writing down our goals and reading them every morning and every night. That's a Napoleon Hill, go back to the basics of one of the greatest entrepreneur books of all times, right? Is Think and Grow Rich. And that's one of the things that he says is write your goals down and read them as if they've already happened every morning and every night. And all of a sudden they happen. Maybe it's magic, right? Maybe it's this weird, cheesy juju stuff out there. But really, I think it's training your subconscious mind on what you want to happen, and it's reprogramming yourself. Other than vision boards, what are some other tools that you've used to just kind of manifest your dreams and help you go from stress to success?
I'm as you become more aware, you just, as you mentioned, you correct yourself when you start to go down a path, which that is amazing. That is a goal that everybody should get to have that self-awareness and pull yourself back. One of the things I've been doing for the past maybe 3 months, I did it several years ago, but I didn't do it consistently. And I just started again as I'm doing the Miracle Morning with Hal Elrod. If that's a book that's
I
been
don't know anything
written.
about it. Tell us about it.
Oh my gosh, it is so good. So his story is pretty incredible. He's had, again, he didn't get any trophies either. He's had to deal with
I'm gonna get you a
lots of
trophy,
health.
Debbie.
Thank you. Thank you.
Remind me.
Yeah, he has dealt with a lot of things, health issues, a lot of challenges, but basically he calls it the savers. And so if you have silent time, some of the things that we do in the morning, like everybody has a morning routine. Maybe sometimes I'll do devotional time and I'll read. But now if you do it all together, you can even do it, you can take an hour, you can take 5 or 6 minutes if that's all that you have. You do silence, you do affirmations, you do visualization, you do a little bit of exercise. You've got to get your body moving, reading and scribing, writing like in a journal. And you do all of that every morning. And so he has an app that you can get that has set programs in case you are, oh my gosh, I don't have time today. And they're really good. And the difference in your mind, I think he had hit one of those points in his life when he wrote this book and said, I wonder what would happen if I did all of this every day. Some people only do some of it, like write
Instead
in
of
a
just
journal.
journal or just, yeah.
So it's really powerful, and that's really been helping me the past few months. I really like it. I'm going to stick with it. There's a whole community, so that's a tool that I've used. And really, I guess the message that I would like to tell people who may be on the same journey or going through empty nesting or just raising kids and going, oh my gosh, if I could just get them to sleep through the night. I thought that was my biggest challenge at one point, but is, just don't settle. Keep pushing, believe, set your boundaries. Do not let other people um, push those because one day there's no more time, right? I feel like if God woke me up today, I need to live big. And I try. It's sometimes I fall down. It's like taking a shower. That mindset has got to be, let me get it out today. Let me let me make sure it's in good shape. But some of the things that I wish I would have known or done is really understanding what's important to alleviate stress, such as getting my house in order as far as retirement. Or I had no tool. I did not understand. And there's time. There's time to get a will. There's time to make sure my family's protected. There's time, even whatever it is, doing your taxes. If it's a big project, my whole life, I've tended to be like, ooh, that's like this big thing over here. I'll do that later. And it's like when you just do it, you feel so much better. So I wish that would be a thought that I wish I would have done sooner, and the mindset would have helped. But, I didn't grow up with anybody talking to me about mindset. We just did whatever we were
Oh,
supposed to do. And
right.
so the other thing you were talking about, the news, I have not turned on a television in many, many years. Very rarely. If my daughter's around, we might watch a movie or something. But now the news just gets to you. If
Exactly.
you
It
have
gets
one of
you.
these, my
Yep.
goodness, help. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yep. I think that's something we used to pride ourselves in, that we don't watch the news. I don't need the newspaper. Like I don't want to, because it's never positive, right?
no,
And that was something that I could avoid and something I could shut out. But now, like you said, with social media, it's coming in anyway, right? If you're on
right.
Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or whatever, it's still in your face always.
Yeah,
You can try to control some of it. Like if I have super Eeyores out there, right?
You can hide them. Yeah.
You can
Yes.
hide them and try to make it better. But it's hard. It definitely is harder to do that. And I think that goes to talk about, all these different things out there. Like you mentioned the Miracle Morning. I mentioned Think and Grow Rich, all these different things, right, that we have out there. We have 75 Hard. There are all these different things that we hear and that continually come to our face every single day. Um, I think they all have merit. I think they're all amazing, but I think you have to pick one and you
Right.
have to do it, right?
Right.
Because if you don't, then you're just confused and
Right.
you're allowing everything to come in. And again, everything is valid, but ultimately you're never going to take action because you're listening to many
Exactly.
things. So you
That
have
is
to choose
brilliant.
something
Brilliant.
to take action. One book that I'll say was really pivotal at the beginning of our career was Hung by the Tongue. You remember that?
It basically, your mind thinks what you say. So be cautious of what you allow yourself to, do that from that
Yes.
perspective. So yeah, be cautious of what you say. Be cautious because a word then plants into the mind as far as where you're headed from that. So, and I'll address a couple things from the chat. We'll talk about avoiding the news. I avoid I allow in what I want when I want. I don't allow it to control my thoughts and my mind. Like we visit houses that are close to us and people that we love, and two of them in very different directions. One has Fox News playing all of the time on the television, and the other one has CNN playing all of the time on the television. It's literally their noise that is implanted in their brain.
They're
It's
brainwashing themselves too,
and
right?
they're also it makes you unaware of other perspectives. It makes you unable to hear or to converse or to talk. So I firmly believe we should know what's going on and we should be
Yes.
aware of what's going
Yes.
on in our government and in the world around us, because if we don't, we're the problem. We're part of the problem, giving
Right.
away the control and giving away the decision making. I think I used to teach social studies, and talking to seventh graders about their not necessarily right to vote, but their obligation to understand what was going on locally and also to be a voice. It's still like my Facebook profile. If it's asked political affiliation at the bottom there, it says, if you don't vote, don't bitch. I mean, that's
Yeah.
me. That's how I feel about it. But so that's what we mean by that. When we say don't turn on the television, it's not ostrich disease, right? It's not head in the sand. It's literally managing the flow of information in your mind when you're ready for it.
Yes.
Don't let it consume you, because we live in a great country. Regardless of what's
Yes.
going on right now,
Yes.
we have a lot of opportunities. The opportunity for success, like Debbie talks about in this question today, is really as simple as making a decision to focus on your life moving in a positive direction. Regardless, we're a collection of our own experiences, right? We are who we are because of what we've been through, because of what decisions we've made, and how we've responded to those decisions. The last part is really the most important part about that, is how do I respond to the things I can't control? Well, I take over, right? I take control. And I think that's the biggest. When I've grown and learned, it's because I've put myself in a situation to have a support network, and also to have mentors, people that have been where I want to go, not people that, it's funny. We have a good friend that's also in our business in California. And he says, I've never been criticized by somebody that was doing better than me. I've only been criticized by people that are doing more poorly than I am, or that are in a negative place. And he said, so why would I listen to those criticisms? I think that is funny when you think about it. I look back at my biggest critics, and most of them they were crabs in a bucket, trying to keep me from doing what they wanted to do, but they weren't willing to go out and try and do. So anyway, good question. I hope that answered that question. And, time flies on the Daily Huddle. So
I was going to say, let's open it up and see if any of you guys have any questions for Debbie and just her experience, and pick her brain. Next time you see her, she's going to have that trophy beside her. It just says, I won
Yeah.
at life.
hashtag winning, Charlie Sheen style, right?
Mhm.
Yes. I love that.
Uh, Well, guys, any other comments or anybody want to share anything from their own decision or from their own management of their stress to success?
If not, we can just keep talking and they can interrupt
Yeah.
us if they choose to do so, right? Um,
Yeah, I love to hear what others think or what they're working on.
It's um it's it's great when I think about, because this has kind of got me thinking about pivotal moments in our career as we've gone through the years. And one of them was, for me, was the Mastermind Alliance, and it was going back to again Napoleon Hill and those original things where he studied people that were doing well and wanted to find what was common in between them. And that was one of them, is that they had people that they could say, I have this idea, what do you think? They had people that could say, hey, you're going in the wrong direction, accountability partners, if you will.
Yeah.
And that's one of the big things we try to do with our system and our business, is that the system and the leadership and the mentorship help people from making the same mistakes that most people would make if they went out in an entrepreneurial space on their own, right? Wanting to be the expert. I mean, going into the financial services world to be an expert, there are people that spend decades of time to do that. Why not be the finder of experts, right? That's kind of what we teach people how to do, is don't try to know it all. Just know everybody needs something, and have a conversation with them and say, oh, wow, what are your needs? I know this person. I know this person. I have access to these people. So that
Right.
mastermind alliance of people that have expertise. I know that's what Carnegie said, is that he knew nothing about the steel business, but he surrounded himself with a lot of people that did. And he was able to put that alliance of people together that created a massive monopoly in the steel industry, and probably created one of the longest running gatherers of wealth, and masters of the monopoly game, if you will, from bringing in the right people, not trying to do it all, be it all, or control it all, but bring in the right people into your circles. So if you're stressed and you want to shift that over to success, that would be another piece I would say, is talk to people that are doing what you want to do. Surround yourself with people that are successful and positive.
and successful people want to answer your questions. They want you to ask them, right? They want to share their experiences. They want to help you grow. So find somebody in your area and in your world that you want to be in, and pick their brain and ask them. I was reading something the other day, and I guess it was Bill Gates. Who was Microsoft?
Who was Microsoft?
Was it Bill Gates? Who was before Microsoft? Was Microsoft the first one? Then maybe it was anyway, a computer person was really young. Maybe it was Steve Jobs, but like 12, right? And it was Hewlett Packard.
Oh yeah, it was Steve Jobs, but it was Hewlett Packard that he was reaching out to via email. Yeah.
But anyway, he when he was 12, like, he was like, I have a question. And the phone book was still a thing at the time. And he literally looked up the guy's phone number that owned Hewlett Packard, and he called him. And he poured into this 12-year-old because he asked him, right? Sarah Blakely has these same conversations. Jesse Itzler, her husband, has these same conversations. Just ask successful people their biggest life advice, or their biggest tips, or whoever's going in the direction you want to go. And again, I'll say it, there's a lot out there that people give a lot of content now, right? And social media especially. There's a lot of content that is given. We can consume forever, or we can choose one direction to go, stick with it, and obviously see how that takes us throughout our life. Well, before we close out today, Debbie, any final thoughts or final comments you want to make as far as just going from stress to success with your mindset?
Just don't quit, don't give up, discipline, consistency, believe. And I'm grateful that, I was able to be here, and I definitely learned to align myself with the people. That's why I'm friends with Zach and Kimberly, because they are my go-to in certain topics, and I'm excited to work with them. So thank you for having me.
Well, absolutely. Thank you for coming on
Thank
today.
you for being here. So, and guys, as we go out into the day, hopefully we can take some of this mindset with us. and point ourselves in the direction we want to go, not in the direction we don't. So
Yes.
remembering our 8 tenets: number 1, love. Number 2, laugh out loud, have a good time. Number 3, stress less, right? That's the whole topic of the meeting this morning. Take care of your body, know what you put in it, and know what it's going to do to you. Number 5, give what you can. Number 6, sleep, get your rest, get your exercise, move, right? And then finally, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Make sure that the response or the reaction, like I said earlier, is the one you want, and it's going to take you in the right direction. So guys, thanks for being here. We will see you same time, same place tomorrow on the Daily Huddle.
Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you.